Welcome to Pickle Lane. I'm Josh.
And I'm Erin. And apparently, we have a lot to say.
I lived with chronic illness for years and then finally healed using a technology called bioenergetics.
Through that experience, we co-founded a holistic wellness brand called Rudy.
We've learned a lot, to say the least, and we want to share it with you.
We'll explore mindfulness, wellness, and spirituality.
Topics ranging from pooping out parasites to breathwork and even traveling to parallel universes.
We spent a lot of years not living authentic to ourselves.
So our hope for Pickle Lane is to help you find your freedom and pick your own lane in life.
Tune in to a new episode of the Pickle Lane podcast every Friday on Spotify or Apple Podcasts.
And subscribe and review if you haven't already.
We hope the show resonates and we can't wait to connect.
Welcome to Pickle Lane.
Hi, everybody.
What it do, baby boo?
I knew it was coming. I'm still not prepared.
What lights you up today, kid?
Well, it's Friday. That always lights me up. Honestly, Kambo is still lighting me up.
Yeah.
I'm still lit.
Talk to me while you're lit by Kambo.
I think it's something that's just going to take a lot of time to fully integrate, if ever. Yeah, there's just so many things that I could be pondering and working on.
Do things pop up throughout the day that you're like, oh yeah?
I mean, it feels very similar to how breath work just pulls things into your consciousness that were subconscious before.
Yeah.
2 days ago, when I was frantic energy again and feeling like I don't have direction, where do I start? I'm overwhelmed.
The day after Kambo.
Yeah, I feel like I have this newfound, not enlightenment, but just awareness.
Yeah.
And that I'm ready. And then I sit down and I'm like, okay, I'm so ready. And I'm so ready. Where do I start?
Yeah.
So there's still that. But more so, I just feel like it's drawn into my consciousness that like I am fully capable of whatever I want to build and create in this 3D life.
Yeah.
And I'm not attached to like really what that even looks like per
Sure.
se or how it happens. There's a few words and phrases that I'm trying to like actively lose from my vocabulary for one reason or another. One of which is this discipline, hard work ethic. I think those can be helpful.
Yeah.
For me, it's always feels a little bit like I don't know, like it just doesn't come naturally to me for whatever reason. I think some people maybe are born that way and I'm not. That's not to give me an out there, but I'm trying because it feels so much more aligned with my soul and spirit to instead of using those very hard, maybe masculine terms and trading those in for more like dedication, devotion, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Like out of the dedication and devotion, the love for myself, for my loved ones, for my life here, like all the opportunities I have. We talked about last week how grateful I am to be a human. That still rings true. And so out of that will flow work, like it will flow action, but to be guided by that as opposed to like almost like this sort of punishing nature of like whip yourself into shape and more reps and more work and more productivity. Like that just, it doesn't work for me. I don't know. It doesn't motivate me.
Yeah.
So I think in some ways it motivates you.
Sure. What motivates you now? Were you able to identify that a little bit?
Just that, what I was talking about, like that deep, true love and respect and devotion and dedication to myself is what I'm tapping into now to motivate myself. Like I believe in myself so much and love myself so much.
Yeah.
I deserve to build beautiful, big, successful things. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it has, I don't know. It's
You
just
were
a
the
different
only one
flavor.
that wasn't believing that.
I know, but yeah, that was a big shift for me.
Yeah.
And of course, it'll be probably something I am processing for the rest of life in one way or another. But similar to how breathwork does, it brought it to like a visceral state in my body where I was like, okay, now I know that for sure.
Right.
And I'm not going to unknow it. I may forget it some days and have to remind myself. But
yeah, it's wild. After talking with you and Laura the past couple of days, you guys are still obviously still processing, but it's starting to feel more and more like what my breathwork sessions feel like the next couple of days after, where you go through these ups and downs of emotions and processing of what actually just happened. The other interesting piece is I really didn't have an expectation of what you guys were going to be like post Kambo, but because I knew it was non-psychoactive, just like what you would say breathwork is, even though I'm pretty psychoactive.
Josh goes places, psychedelic.
I was curious to see if the response of like being more grounded in yourself was going to be the response, as opposed to like if you go do ayahuasca and you sit with that, you kind of have these experiences where all of a sudden you feel connected to something completely outside of yourself. While I do think a little bit of that happened, and we talked about that on a previous episode, I think probably one of the most impactful and beneficial things that came out of Kambo for both of you guys was that you got back into yourselves.
Yeah, into our bodies.
Yeah.
I think I said that maybe 5 or 6 times throughout the different ceremonies. Like she would give me hape and I'd be like, whew.
Yeah.
here I am. Like, there is literally no place else I can be but right here in my body right
Yeah.
now. And same with the meditations that we did, and same with the Sananga eye drops and
Yeah.
Kambo. It's like it all just brought you to
Back.
right now.
Yeah.
Like, there, you just couldn't be anywhere else.
Yeah.
You were so physically present.
And I'm sure there were probably like internal physical benefits to this. Obviously, you purged in your own way, and so did Laura. Kambo knew exactly how you needed to purge and whatever that was purging out of your body. So obviously, like, stoked to see your next scan of where your liver's at and kidneys and things like
Yeah.
that. There obviously were internal benefits to this, but when you are in the processing mode of Kambo, it's very interesting to see how that transforms and how similar it feels to so many people that have gone through breathwork, because there's like this empowerment. Sure, like you could say, I guess, the increase in oxygen is the modality that is in breathwork, just like Kambo is in the ritual that you did. But obviously, people are purging in their own ways. But you come out of that and you're like, I'm a fucking badass.
Yeah.
And you both came out of Kambo feeling the same way. The last breathwork session that I did was the most excruciating pain I've felt to date. And I came out of that being like, oh, yeah, I got this.
Yeah.
But you guys had that walking in the door even after your first one, let alone your second and third one.
Yeah, and I'm excited to talk about the second and third one today, because I did have other big like aha moments around suffering, like what you're talking about. Like, yes, there is so much to be gleaned from these seasons of suffering and pain, and like Kambo and breathwork sometimes brings up suffering and pain, but it doesn't always have to be hurting. It doesn't have to hurt to work. And I think that's important to know, because sometimes, at least in my life, I think that we subconsciously generate suffering and pain to help ourselves learn, but like we don't have to take that pattern. We can also learn by staying open and by welcoming abundance and all these other less tragic ways of learning. Going into Kambo, I definitely was very aware that I had been creating suffering in my life, honestly, in our life, like as a family, which it would be very vulnerable. But I brought my pre-Kambo morning pages. I think I'll read it.
Okay.
If that's okay with you.
Sure.
Okay. It's risky, but I
go for it.
Fuck it. Okay, ready? So I wrote this the morning before Kambo. Obviously, I talked a little bit in the last episode about what I was maybe hoping from Kambo, but a huge pattern that just became abundantly clear to me like 2 days before was my inability to like look reality in the eye in our life, particularly in our like finances. I just avoid it all. I can't make eye contact with it, and it got us in a bad spot.
Put us in a pickle for a minute.
Put us in a pickle. Yeah. Okay, I'll just read it. I cried all day yesterday, mostly because I finally made eye contact with our financial situation and was overcome with regret and remorse for my lack of awareness and therefore lack of contribution, which put everything on the one I love most. That's you, in case you're wondering.
Love you too.
My avoidance, my lack of self-belief, my frozen state got us to a net worth of almost zero, and that just hit yesterday. A radical transformation is necessary in order to keep my family healthy and thriving. I keep saying I lack motivation, but what more motivation do I need beyond that? My goal and intention with Kambo is to release and purge this identity I've been clinging to, who is too afraid to start, who can't do hard things, who can't look reality in the eye and deal with it like an adult. While it's tempting to want to punish myself and use shame as motivation, I know that's short-sighted. I want to love that part of me so deeply that she can feel safe enough to settle, to sit back and observe what this version of me is capable of. She's allowed to hold her fear, voice it even, but she no longer drives this car. I want to hug her tightly, say thank you for your service and for keeping me safe, but I have my own family to care for now, and you're no longer protecting me from harm. You're protecting me from having the big, beautiful, expansive, abundant life that I deserve and that I choose to start right now. And then I went in and did Kambo.
Damn, girl.
And like immediately violently vomited all of that
like within
shit
a minute.
Yes. And so I feel like that's why I was so open for this experience. Like I knew exactly what I needed to purge and what I had been clinging to for the better part of the last year. Yeah. So
that's wild. Yeah, I like nobody knew about that except for you.
Yeah.
Did you go back and read that after your first day of Kambo, or did you just be like, oh shit, I forgot I did this?
No, I opened it up this morning and read it and was like, oh wow. I
How
mean,
did
I
that
know
feel?
I was super emotional the week leading up to it. I think because I finally sat down, I crunched the
Y'all,
numbers.
these two, Laura and Aaron, were wilding out the entire week. It was wild.
Yeah, poor Josh. Yeah, so I just finally sat down and crunched the numbers and realized like where I had gotten us.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like this huge unraveling of what the fuck have I been doing? Like,
Yeah.
where have I been?
Mm-hmm.
And how did I allow this? And all like there were so many blinders up because I was too afraid.
Yeah.
Too afraid to start, too afraid to look at it directly. And so I just wept all day because the guilt of putting that whole burden on you, it was hard to bear the guilt. There's a difference between guilt and shame. And I obviously, as I wrote there, like I wasn't willing to use shame to motivate me. I know that's not proactive, but guilt can be like a really useful emotion when you have done something wrong.
Sure.
To change your path or change your course. And another word that I'm hoping to strike from my vocabulary is I'm sorry, not because I think it's bad to apologize, but many women, maybe just people in general, we're so used to apologizing for like just being, for existing, for taking up space, whatever that looks like. And that's for sure how I've used the word. I mean, someone could literally step on me at the grocery store and I'll be like, oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
Fact.
Sorry that I was standing
totally
here.
How you are.
Yeah. Or somebody could cut me in line. I'd be like, oh, sorry. Like, it's just an impulse. I'm trying to be more conscious instead of saying sorry, saying thank you for holding space for me or thank you for waiting for me. Say if I'm late for something or something. Yeah. So thank you for giving me time and space to come to these realizations and conclusions on my own time, which was not convenient for either of us. I know I created pain.
Yeah.
And I am sorry. Of course, I'm not opposed to apologizing. And I think you probably saw it all over me for those few days. But yeah, rather than being motivated by shame and guilt, I want to be motivated by that like self love and devotion and respect for me, for you, for our family. So yeah, that is just a big old thing.
That's incredible. So how did it feel reading this today, post going through the 3 days of Kambo?
I read it and I remembered exactly how I felt when I wrote it. And I feel just like a completely different human being on this side of it, if that makes sense.
I mean, yeah.
I just feel empowered. I don't feel like fear is driving me anymore. I think it's still there. Like I said, like it's going to be in maybe the passenger seat, still chiming in like, oh, yikes, don't turn that way or whatever. Sure. But being able to just say like, okay, thank you for your contributions. You can be quiet now.
Bye, bitch.
Yeah.
As humans, I think we all have a passenger.
Oh, yeah.
Or a backseat driver. And we are all dealing with our own different types. And if we're honest, probably most of them come back to fear.
Yeah.
It just comes out in different ways. So you're not alone in that. I have mine too, and you know that. But sometimes you got to shut up the backseat driver.
Yeah, or just say like,
brake check them.
Yeah. I love the internal family systems way of looking at it because I think it's more effective in general than saying shut up or go away. Like when's the last time you ignored a whiny, scared toddler and they actually quieted down? Right. Instead, embracing that voice and saying, look, I hear you. You are very loud right now. I see you're trying to protect me. Yep. And yet you are not the boss of me. Right. Like there is someone else sitting at the head of this table, whatever figure you want to call it, like higher self or whatever. And she's the one who makes the big decisions around here. Yep. I will take that into consideration, but that's all the power that you hold.
Yeah. And the more tools that you have, the better chance you are going to be able to put a stop to that.
And to be the head of the table.
Right.
Yeah, those roles just get really ingrained, I think, and we don't even realize that we're letting some 5-year-old inner self direct traffic in our life. Yikes. Sure. Like, that's terrifying.
That is.
Yeah. The difference is now, after Kambo, and this could have absolutely been achieved in other ways. I don't think Kambo is like some golden ticket. For sure. But I think that now I'm very aware of who is sitting at the head of the table now, and it's me, and it's my consciousness, it's higher self. So, yeah.
So go back to, we talked a little bit about your first Kambo, the day one. When did this shift happen, or the realization that this shift was happening?
Yeah, there were so many pivotal kind of moments. So I talked about how the first day she applied 1 point of Kambo and I immediately purged, which she said she'd never seen before. I think I was just very ready for this experience.
That showed it, yeah.
Yeah, and...
that meaning what you wrote.
Yeah. I went back to day 2 a little bit nervous because I was violently purging on 1 point and then I eventually just took the 2 points that first day, and I was hoping to take 3 or 4 the next day, but I'm like, well, geez, like if that was what happened.
You and Laura both looked hella nervous leaving for the second day.
But when it came down to it and she applied the 3 points that I decided on, it was not a walk in the park, but it was like very manageable and doable, and I didn't purge. And I just remember like it got pretty intense. I was on all fours and breathing through a big wave. It's like reminiscent of labor a little bit, the way that like contractions come and they get really intense and then they like ride out. So
do they go in and out like that? Or is it one big wave and then you come down?
Pretty much one big wave and then you come down. So obviously
one big contraction.
Yeah, but it lasts longer.
Yeah.
So I was breathing through it, almost like bracing myself, expecting it to get much worse because it was 3 points as opposed to the 1 or 2 I had taken before. It never got more intense and I never had the urge to throw up. And so I'm breathing, and I look up at Anastasia and was like,
who's the facilitator?
Yeah, is this too easy? I feel like maybe I should put another point on. I think I even asked her, is it too late for another point? And at this point, I was 15 or 16 minutes in, and she was like, no, but let's just keep breathing through it and see what comes up because we have tomorrow anyway. Why rush? For a half a second, I had the thought of, damn it, Aaron, you played small again.
Sure.
You know better now that you're ready for more and you played small. You only took 3. You could have taken 5 today.
Yeah.
And as soon as that thought came in and I like verbalized it, then I thought in the next breath, I was like, you know what? But it's also safe to go at your own pace.
Yep.
And now that I know I'm ready for more, I will do more. I don't know why that was such a big light bulb moment for me because I think I often just like shame myself when I do play small or when I'm just different from people like you who go balls to the wall right away. But for me, that's just not how I operate and not how I'm going to make sustainable change in my life. So for me, it's like doing what feels comfortable and safe for me. But as soon as I know that I'm ready for more, I've got to take the next step. And that's usually where I get stuck.
Yeah.
And so it was like immediately I felt, okay, tomorrow I'm going to have no doubt I'm coming back for 5 points and I'm going to fucking crush it instead of playing small and just going to 4. It's like I knew I was ready for 5. And so I did go back the next day and took 5 points. And interestingly enough, so we pull like an oracle sort of tarot type card with every sitting with Kambo. And the one that I chose for that second serving of Kambo was the Holy Mountain card. And I won't read the whole thing because it's kind of long, but the last paragraph that it says is, when the Holy Mountain shows up, it's time to be active. Do not let your doubts deter you and keep you bound. This is a time to leap over challenges and to remember that from the top of the mountain, there are no obstacles, only beauty and an unobstructed view of the entire earth. It goes on to say, you already have all the gear that you need. You don't need to go get any additional training or boots or anything else to climb this mountain. And then the last sentence, it says, overcome any lethargy and laziness, as these are the real obstacles. This session for me was like a huge call to action.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, now that you know you're ready, that felt easy. And so it's time for more. Like you can handle more. So then we went back to the last day and I took 5 points and it was like another walk in the park.
Baller.
I know.
Crazy.
I thought for sure I was going to have another crazy purge. The fact that I purged on 1 and 2 points and then here I am with 5. And it almost felt, I wouldn't go so far as to say euphoric, the third one, but it was pleasant. It was pleasurable. Like I had lots of nervous system like shaking and releasing and it just felt like the fear was leaving my body is the best way to say it. I was like physically shaking, just breathing through it, but it was not uncomfortable at all. So it's just not at all what I was expecting, but it's exactly what I needed.
That's fantastic. It's definitely noticeable. The past couple of days, even just how you present yourself is very different than the past 8 months.
Yeah.
How do you, going forward now, embrace that fearlessness and remind yourself that powerful woman exists inside of you?
Yeah, I mean, I think drawing from that experience has been very helpful. Like I can think back to what it felt like to breathe through the intensity of Kambo and pull from other experiences of my life. Like I've given birth to a baby naturally and I've run a marathon. I've done hard things and I know that I'm capable. So drawing from those experiences has been helpful. Also, I'm really just curious about and interested in learning more about kind of the balance of masculine and feminine energies in my life right now, because I think we talked about this a little bit last week with Laura, but I have not tapped into masculine energy my entire life, probably. Obviously, I don't want to confuse that with like the societal masculine, like masculine and feminine have both been very much distorted, the meaning of those by society, by culture. But this idea of divine masculine, which is if the feminine is related to like the moon, which is always like fluctuating, it's in these cycles, is very like fluid, it's connected to water and tides and the ocean, it's flowy energy. Masculine is more like the sun, which is steady, it's predictable, it has structure, you know what to expect every morning it's rising, every evening it's setting, and it's this container or structure for your femininity. Wow, that's hard to say. For your femininity to flow within and flow through. I've just never thought about it like that. And I definitely struggle with systems and structure and
big time. Yeah.
consistency. Like those are things that are really hard for me to grasp. So I'm leaning a little more into like my divine masculine energy and just learning what that looks like balanced with the divine feminine.
It's interesting that I've been so focused on the divine feminine, especially coming off of Wisdom 2.0. I had that incredible meditation where I met the divine feminine, and I'm still of the belief that the world will heal because of the divine feminine and the masses gaining awareness into what the divine feminine is. But it's interesting, I never really paid attention to the lack thereof with the divine masculinity inside of you. I look at you and see so much divine femininity. That is such a fun word to say.
Femininity.
Divine femininity.
Maybe just the divine feminine for the sake of our
no way
tongue twisters.
Now I'm going to say it. That's what I see in you. And it's something that I know we've talked about this before. Everyone else around you sees it except you. Sometimes now you're seeing it, but I believe that's where you're going to be a healer, in that divine femininity. Tapping into the divine masculine is only going to ignite more of that divine feminine.
100%. And when you read, there's different kind of takes from different cultures, but a lot of cultures see the divine feminine as like the universe itself. And the masculine is like the witness of that universe or God, however you want to look at it. One without the other ends up being destructive. But when you have them both in balance, honoring one another, is when they both expand. Like they both are able to flourish then. And of course, this has nothing to do with gender. I hope that goes without saying. We all have these energies, these like complementary polarity. I love how all of these concepts, like you can pull from nature and you can pull from like quantum physics.
We're not talking about human gender here.
No. It's so much deeper than that. But no, just like the polarity of things and how, I don't know, I love all of these themes are just, you can find them anywhere.
One thing that you brought up, and maybe we said it on the last episode, but one thing that was so profound to me and made me think about it for a while, the past couple of days, the idea of the womb being the center point of creation. Wow.
Yeah. I know.
Crazy.
It really is. Yeah, that space in a woman. Now, obviously, a male body.
Now we're talking gender.
Right. A male body does not have a womb, but you still have the ability to tap into the energetic womb space. It's not, but I think I said this in our second sitting with Kambo as I was breathing through one of the waves, and I was just so moved by the sacred space that I was in with two other women. And it was so clear to me that like women are going to save the world. Like it's us. But yeah, that creation space that for so many of us is blocked by this, what Eckhart calls the pain body, or the collective pain body. So we each have like our personal collection of pain, but then there's the collective. So any like marginalized group is going to have this kind of collective pain body that we all carry together. And so of course women historically have been suppressed, have been abused and pushed to the edges, all the things. And so we have this collective burden that we've been carrying, many of us in that kind of proverbial womb space, and we pass it from generation to generation because it's not, for whatever reason, available for us to clear it in our lifetime. So I think some of us are called and led by spirit and other things to clear this stuff. And I think it's happening more and more. I feel like human consciousness is rising and women are becoming aware of this and doing work. Like you may hear of people doing like womb work or womb healing ceremonies. And it's so beautiful. And I think like that stuff is where I just have so much hope for our universe.
Same.
When I hear about those things. But yeah, it's definitely, I personally need to lean into masculine energy, divine masculine energy with that like structure, container, systems, things like that. But I think women often underestimate the power of the divine feminine when it comes
Yes.
to creation, to
Agreed.
bringing new life, creativity, and all of that is like flowy and juicy
Yeah.
and it's like the good stuff, but we need that masculine container and structure to bring it to action, like
Yeah.
to bring it actually out into the world. So both are needed, but it's a
It's
concept
wild.
I've really enjoyed just pondering and looking into recently. So on that third day when I took the 5 points, and again, it almost felt like good, I verbalized that to Anastasia and said, do I need more points? This isn't feeling hard.
Yeah.
And she so wisely said, it doesn't have to be hard to be working. Like, look at your body. You're rigorously shaking. Like,
Yeah.
you're releasing stuff. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be hard. We already talked a little bit about this, but how, for you, I think historically you have learned lessons the hard way. That's how you have done it. Is that something that you are like trying to change or interested in doing differently?
Yeah. It's interesting because we're both learning pretty much the same thing, just in two different ways. So the last breathwork session that I had, what was that, last week? It was excruciating to the point where I didn't know if I was going to be able to get through it. Kimberly was humming and I just attached onto that and I was breathing really heavily. The pain normally presents itself in my calves. It starts out what feels to be like a really intense calf cramp, which then turned into like, it felt like somebody was opening me up. It didn't stay in my calves. It moved up my body. It felt like my entire body was in a really bad cramp. It was worse than a cramp.
Like
way
knife?
worse. Yeah. Somebody was opening my entire body up.
Wow.
And I was moaning and screaming and my eyes were watering and she's just humming.
Bless all these space holders. Like, how do they do that?
How do you not freak the fuck out? Like, we're on a phone call. I would be like, okay, stop. Yeah.
No, they're so good at holding space.
Yeah. And she just trusts it.
Yeah.
So I got through that. At first, it was just like, what did I just experience? And nothing really was coming up. It just felt like I purged really hard. I didn't puke. I just got my insides ripped apart. And it felt monumental, but I couldn't pinpoint what I just cleared. And so I was like amped. I was like, whoa, that was crazy. I get amped after I go through crazy things like that. And Kimberly just knows me so well. And she's like, okay, I hear you, but let's keep breathing. And so she gets me back into the breath. And maybe 2 minutes into me re-regulating my breath, per Kimberly's advice, it comes to me that I'm done learning the hard way.
Yeah.
It's over. It's done. That was it. I was like, I will go into another breathwork session. I won't have pain like that ever again. I'm totally confident in it. It was like as clear as day. It was like, that's it. That's passed. I finally just released it all at once. And I remember coming up to you being like, it's done. It's over. Like, we would joke that I learned the hard way. Yeah, Josh just likes to learn the hard way, yada, yada. And then I was like, fuck that. I'm done with this.
I don't have to.
Life comes easy. Like, I can learn things easily now. Things are going to come to me easily. I don't have to work my ass off to get to the points that are of my truest desires. It's over. I was sitting in that, and this kind of feels like your third day of Kambo. I'm breathing and we're at the end of it. So I know we're coming down. I can tell how Kimberly's talking, that it's almost over. I realized that my gums feel weird. And I was thinking like, ow, what is that pain in my gums? And I realized that I was smiling ear to ear. And it was because my mouth was fully dry. My lips were stuck on my gums. What had happened was I felt fully connected to source. I felt like it was running through me. I was just this vessel laying on the bed breathing, but it was just like energy moving in and out of me. This sounds so dumb, but like the movie Avatar where they plug in their tail or whatever that's what it felt like. I was just plugged in to the energy. Involuntarily smiling ear to ear, I just realized it's over. And it was bliss and it was enjoyable and euphoric. And it was just a reminder that, yeah, sometimes we're going to go through pain and there's bliss after, but then other times we can just learn the easy way.
Yeah.
We don't have to go through that. And that pain for me was a identifiable point of my life where all of the pain and suffering that was caused by me choosing to learn the hard way was released and it was done. So we're out here just living easy now. Things come to us easy.
Yeah. Even just in the last couple days, you talk about like living open-handed or like just open to what is coming. It feels like what I've been doing, but also paired with that masculine, like active energy. It's like you don't even have to try so hard because stuff comes in.
Yes.
When you're living with an open soul, open-handed, not attached, like I'm not like it must happen X, Y, and Z way.
Yeah. I expect it now.
Yeah.
It's like it's happening.
Yeah. I've gotten DMs, I've gotten emails that are like, "Hey, will you partner with us?" And I'm like, "Fuck yeah."
Out of nowhere. You weren't getting that a week ago.
I know.
Swear. You weren't getting it a week ago.
It's like the whole concept of the law of attraction is that like attracts
I was just
like.
about to say that.
And my soul before was gripping so hard onto what it felt like were like the final pennies of our, I wasn't going to let go of a thing.
Yep.
And so nothing was coming in because I was so closed off. But now instead of this, I guess I have to pay that $10 for that thing. It's like I'm paying and I'm saying, thank you, universe, for this, whatever, bag of groceries, whatever it is.
Abundance.
There is so much available to us.
Yes.
We're taught that everything is limited, that there's scarcity everywhere. But like if you look at it in reality, there is so much money out there. There is so much food out there. There is a lot of inequities that keep it from people. And there's a lot of
underprivileged.
3D physical world things that keep certain people from having access to it, which is, of course, a problem and worth us fighting to change. But generally speaking, when we live closed off, we're also going to get closed off. Like we're not going to receive. And so just that very simple kind of like shift of my soul has already brought things in. Now, that's not to say we're never going to struggle again. We're never going to have suffering again. Like, of course.
Yeah.
And we'll choose to learn from those too. But I don't know. I just feel like we're both kind of feeling done with creating the suffering for ourselves.
We both shed it.
Yeah.
Within a week.
Yeah.
It's gone.
There is some suffering that's unavoidable for sure. But what percentage would you estimate that we create for ourselves?
85%.
Yeah, that's about where I would land to, 80-90%. But like, we don't have to do that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I even think, we could have a whole podcast just on all of that. But sometimes it's the only way we're going to learn.
Yeah, and that's what I have to remind myself too. I think
But we don't have, that was the point of my breath work.
Yeah.
I don't have to learn that way anymore.
Yes.
I am open and aware enough that I don't have to learn the hard way anymore.
Yeah.
I did have to learn the hard way to get to exactly where I am right now. But I'm done.
Yeah, it
it's
feels
over.
like the veil. It's every time that happens, I'm like, how many veils do I have on?
Yeah,
like,
that felt like all of the veils at once.
Yeah, yeah.
It's done. It's over. I'm done letting other people learning the hard way drag me down to learn the hard way too. I am my own person and I'm free.
Yeah. Even it's been interesting too, because I think so many of us are taught and almost drilled into us that work ethic and hard work and dedication.
Call it a workhorse.
Yeah, but that is like something to be praised and it will pay off. It's the only way to get ahead in life. And it's almost borderline offensive when you offer a different narrative. Like it gets people riled up.
Definitely worked up. Yeah.
What is that, do you think?
I don't know. Fear. I think we've been trained that the only way to move forward is to work really hard. We've never tried not.
Maybe it's just the fear of I did it this way my whole life and I don't know what I'm trying to say.
This doesn't mean that you don't work at all.
No.
Like you're not sitting back expecting things to just come to you. You still have to put the effort in. You just don't have to die doing it. That's all that means.
Yeah.
And to live in more of a flow. Because when you're in that flow, it doesn't feel like work.
Exactly.
That's what makes it feel easy. I think so many are caught up in not flow.
Yeah, or that's somehow too good to be true. Like there's just no way that would work. But I think Tim Ferriss I've heard him talk about this exercise he does with himself. And he's another person who historically has learned the hard way and is very like work oriented. But he will do this exercise, I think journaling. If he's struggling with something, a project, a relationship, or whatever, he'll use the prompt, what would this look like if it was easy? Or if easy is too far, because that just makes you feel like, no way.
Yeah.
You could say, what would this look like if it were fun? Or what would this look like if it were elegant?
Yeah.
Which just is a little more of like flowy in nature. Yeah, but
he also does the opposite. If I did this, what's worst case scenario?
Yeah, the fear plan. Wait, what does he call it? Fear setting.
Yeah.
Instead of goal setting, fear setting. Yeah, I love that concept.
Which is really, really cool. So like, I'm going to do this. I think he talked about going on a 4-month retreat or something that ended up being 18 months or something like that. And he essentially was like, what's the worst thing that happens? Everything goes under and I end up on my friend's couch for a couple months.
Yeah.
Like, I could be okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so he did it.
Yeah. And he talks about too, which I wish I could kick myself for all the things that I wish I would have done over the last 9 months, but setting fears like that, saying, okay, what's the worst that could happen if I tried X, Y, and Z? Not only just that though, he takes it a step further to say, okay, how can I prevent those things from happening?
Sure.
And a lot of them you can prevent.
We all have the different fears too, because yours was failure. Your worst case scenario is, oh, I fail.
Which is hilarious.
And for me, I'm like, who cares?
Exactly.
Fail.
The most ironic part is that then I feel like such a failure because I never started.
100%. Yeah.
I could have at least had the satisfaction of knowing I gave it a good old college try, but we're learning.
Okay. After all of this, who would you recommend to see if Kambo's right for them?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, there's obvious physical contraindications with Kambo, which I'll have to let Anastasia talk more about. Generally speaking, though, I feel like Kambo can be for anyone. I think if you're feeling blocked energetically, and that may come out any different type of way in your life, physically, emotionally, spiritually, professionally, personally, if you're feeling blocked, I think it can be a huge tool to unlock some things. From a physical side of things, I do think it can be really quite helpful for a lot of people. I've read little bits here and there about all sorts of different diagnoses, but Lyme is a big one with Kambo. I think because it hits the lymph. That's why you burn the holes in your skin is to get access to the lymphatic system. So the Kambo and all the 100+ peptides in Kambo is surging through the lymphatic system, clearing things out, moving things, moving out toxins and things like that. If you're ready for a purge, then Kambo's for you. If you are a person seeking the sacred, I love plant and amphibian. I feel like Kambo feels like a plant medicine, even though it's from a frog. But I love plant medicine for that because I just feel like there's so much. These plants and animals are millennia older than us. It's no wonder to me that they have this sort of innate intelligence about them that we can't fully explain. Same with the mycelium network that connects all the trees in the forest and rebuild. There's so much intelligence there that we, with our frontal cortex, think that we're so beyond. But these things are wise beyond us, beyond what we could ever comprehend and understand. And Kambo fits under that category for me as well. So if you're looking for some sort of sacred experience, and for me, I missed a lot of that about church, that kind of ritual, sacred space. So it felt really beautiful just to be able to set aside some sacred time to connect with God, source, spirit, whatever works for you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, those would be the big ones, I think.
You're awesome.
You're awesome. Anastasia's awesome, and I can't wait to get her on here. I'm going to hound her until she gives me a date. It'll be great.
I'm excited to have her on.
Yeah.
She seems like a fascinating human being.
Yeah, for sure. She says she sat with ayahuasca for maybe over 100 times, which
wild.
Is absurd. I know. I can't even imagine.
Yeah, she's probably seen a few things.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I'm proud of you.
Thanks. I'm proud of you too. We're both
out here hustling.
No, we're not.
We're out here flowing.
I'm genuinely though, and you've been talking about this for, I don't know, a year. You're like, wait, but just imagine if we were both
I know.
On this
straight up, I've been saying it for
vibration.
A year.
I know. And I feel like finally we're kind of both in a similar vibration where we're just open and receiving. We're not chasing. And so, we'll see where this gets us.
About to get us places.
Yeah.
Promise you that.
I'm excited.
But I am proud of you because while things can come easy, you got to go through this to get to where you're at right now. And we're all purging whether we want to or not. To voluntarily step into a space knowing you're going to purge is a unique mentality.
Yeah.
And for many people, it's a hurdle that you have to overcome. I'd say for most, nobody wants to step into pain.
Sure.
But doing that work is profound. Breath work for you is a lot different than breath work for me. So sometimes I feel like breath work sounds like how you felt going into Kambo. When I sit with my breath, I'm not looking forward to it. Yeah. I'm looking forward to when it's over.
Yeah.
And I know how much of an impact it has on me. But up until this point, there's been a lot of pain that's existed inside of all of those sessions. I think we're all over with that though.
Yeah.
I think we got some bliss up in here.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see what comes next in all of our experiences. I think now we're open to receive all of those, all that hardships behind us.
Yeah.
It just took me 20 breathwork sessions and it took you one purge with Kambo. No big deal.
It's all that divine feminine up in here.
Facts.
She just lets
You got
it
it.
flow.
You're ready to roll.
I
But
know.
that's inspiring too, and maybe something that listeners need to note, that intentionality of being open before you go into something. Laura mentioned this too, but as a human, we tend to clench when we know something bad's coming. Just like a car accident, they talk about that. What, a drunk driver versus a
Right.
sober person have two different outcomes in a car crash. That kind of is how we go into even these types of things. You go into ayahuasca, so many people are probably clenched. I would be without your insight. Like, your example of this has made me realize that I can become open to things prior to going into it, and I wonder if my experience would be different.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I encourage others to consider that too, because that example is also profound.
Thanks. Yeah. Again, I think I said this in the last episode too, but viewing every part of life, whether that's a conflict you're in the midst of, or whether that's a relationship or a professional endeavor, or literally anything in life,
Yeah.
waiting in line in the grocery store, like these are all invitations for us to practice, like in real time,
Yep.
staying open, being open, leading with love.
Yeah.
It's all just invitations to be present and fully open to whatever the universe has for us. So you don't need even to do breath work or Kambo. I think those are awesome ways to like really solidify the lessons and the practice. But I think the real magic happens when we're able to work that out.
Yeah.
Just in our normal, everyday,
That's the goal.
mundane life. Yeah.
Boom shakalaka. Love you, boo.
Love you guys.
Are we just gonna end it right there? Might as well. We gotta go pick up the kid.
Might as
Here
well.
we are. Boom shakalaka Turner.
Bye.
Love ya.
Stay
Bye.
open.